This is Abe Friedtanzer from Awards Buzz. Very excited to be speaking with Allison Tolman about St. Denis Medical. How are you, Allison?
I'm well, thank you. It's good to see you.
You too. I was revisiting, we had like a 5 minute junket conversation right when the season started, and we managed to get quite a lot into there. Sometimes those interviews are just so short and brief, but I think we covered a lot, which is great. But I've now had a chance to see more of the show. It's taken on a good life where it's been renewed for a second season. And we also had a nice conversation in person. So, first, want to ask, how are you feeling about St. Denis Medical right now?
Oh, I feel so good. I'm a little sad that we have like weeks off in the last few weeks here of the show. I just want it to like plow straight through because now we're into stuff I haven't seen yet, and so I want to see all of the things like everybody else every week. Um, but it feels really good. It just feels really good to have it out in the world. It's being so well received, and again, when you're watching in real time, like with your audience, you just kind of also get to be like, oh, that episode turned out great. Like that was really funny, and in this style where you have these storylines that you're not a part of, I'm also getting to see like what my coworkers were doing on weeks when we didn't have storylines together. So it just feels really good. It feels great. And especially, we got picked up for a season two. We know when we're coming back to work. And so I'm just really in that sweet spot as an actor right now that I have never been able to enjoy of like having a show that's successful and is being enjoyed by people. And there's more coming. Like this is a real treat.
I always like to look back, and I know we talked about some of your previous roles, but something like Downward Dog, for instance, I think is a great example of a show that as it got on, it might have been nice to do more of it, but that was a very sort of brief kind of thing. And also compared to this show where you have such a huge ensemble of humans to talk to, I feel like that was a slightly more isolating experience.
Oh, definitely. I've never done a show quite like St. Denis. I mean, it's truly like a true sitcom style. Um, I mean, I understand why people say, sitcom hours, sitcom life is like that's living, like that's the way to do it because it really is like, it's a great gig. We really are really lucky.
I think Matt LeBlanc was doing episodes, which was really great and sort of like highbrow. And then he went to go do Man with a Plan. And he's like, this is what I want to do. It's a much better schedule. I get to be with my family. It's not necessarily as sophisticated, but it also, what's nice, I think, about, especially compared to a lot of the other shows I watch, you can check in on one episode of this show and you know what's going on. Like, you don't, there's some helpful hints if you've seen more, but like Bruce and all those other people, like, you can tell who they are just from checking in for
Yeah.
1.5 hour.
I've been thinking about that so much lately, as as the show has like gone on and as it's probably, I mean, it's the most successful thing I've been involved in to this point since Fargo, which was a kind of one-off thing for me and could not have been more different. But I'm feeling the sort of like cyclical nature of life. It's been 10 years since I did Fargo, and I was really that since that's kind of how I entered the industry, that's been something that I've been sort of chasing since I did Fargo. I've been first I was like, can I lead a show? Can I like be the lead of a show and lead a show. And then I was like, I want to do more prestige TV. I want to do more stuff like that's the thing everyone's talking about, the Severance, the Succession, like that's what I want to do. Because that's kind of where I came from. That's what I came out of Fargo. And I thought I'll be chasing that forever. And when this show came along, it couldn't be less that. This is such a different thing. And I've been thinking so much about like how I really feel the value of shows like St. Denis, the value of like just a good solid sitcom. As the world, for me, as the world around us moves more towards chaos, the more I find that I feel really lucky to be a part of a show that is crossing generational lines that you can watch with your parent who you may not have a lot in common with, that you can discuss with your coworkers that you may not have a lot in common with. I love television that's for television people. I love prestige TV, but I think that there is, social and emotional value in sweet, palatable, comfortable sitcoms. I really feel like that there's value there. And I'm just really thankful to be at a point in my career where I've sort of come full circle and have been like, actually, this is a really good spot to be. I never thought I would be on a network sitcom. That was not my goal. That's not where I was like working towards. And then this show came along at exactly the right point in my career and in my personal life where my father had just been sick for a while and I'd spent quite a bit of time in hospitals. And the idea of doing a show about that world that had so much heart and so much like love and so much lightness to it really just was really appealing. So anyway, that was a long it's a
No,
long rambling answer,
it's
but I've been thinking so much
great.
lately about prestige TV and about the sort of big budget, these 10 episode seasons and these TV shows that are like the things that everyone's talking about, and how I feel like there's space for both these types of television and both these types of entertainment. And I'm really proud to be working on something like St. Dennis.
I also think you make a great point about accessibility that I feel like someone's like, "Oh, Severance is great," but, like, I don't have time or the mental energy to get into that, like, that's too much, and here it's like, I can watch one episode before I go to sleep, and it will keep me laughing, and, I think very much Fargo is certainly like, that's the future of television, but it's nice that something like St. Dennis still exists because the sitcom really has evolved from something. I mean, there's a nice also sort of slapstick quality, I think, to this show that, like, there are still just, like, things you can laugh at that aren't terribly smart or sophisticated, but that's part of why it's fun because
Yeah.
in our life we don't all do things that are smart and sophisticated. We can't all
Mhm.
have, really highbrow conversations all the time. Sometimes we just have to be dumb and enjoy laughing at each other.
I mean, I would say that most of us are not having highbrow conversations. I would say most of the highbrow conversations we're having are about highbrow television. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I just think, yeah, I think it's like you said, accessible. I think it's good. Oh, my cat is going to come say hi. Hello, here, baby.
I know also that we did see a little bit of Alex's home life, which I enjoy because it's sort of nice just to have these people in like what we know. Because I assume like if we saw a lot of Matt's family all the time, that could be a little much. It's sort of nice to see like how did this guy just get created, and we've heard Bruce on the phone, etc. What is
Yeah.
it like to get to delve into Alex's backstory and just the other people in her life?
Yeah, it's nice. I mean, it's nice to be, it's like kind of Alex is sort of the fulcrum point, I think, for so many of the characters on this show. And she's the one who is the closest touchstone, I think, for the audience and the way that she's reacting to things that are going on around her in the ER. Um, but also, yeah, it makes it to where we want to see her home life. We want to see what this mom is like at home. And also that's her great struggle is like, how do I continue to be the best wife and mother that I can be and continue to be the best nurse that I can be as well. And I think that's something that a lot of people can relate to. So I feel really lucky that my character gets to be fleshed out in that way. And I'm hoping that in season 2, we're going to get to meet, one of Ron's estranged kids is going to come by or whatever. We get to anytime we get like a little, pinhole look into one of the other characters' lives, it's always so telling and so fun. And it just like makes the world so much richer.
I have no idea where things are in terms of what's aired so far because I was watching ahead of what I had. So what can audiences expect for what's left this season, just generally speaking?
We're gonna spend a little bit more time with my husband, which is nice. Alex's husband comes back in for a couple episodes, so we get to spend some more time with watching her kind of like bridge that gap between work, life, home life, and work. And that's really, that is sort of her arc for the season is sort of trying to find that balance. And they've written such beautiful episodes to sort of sprinkle throughout the season that kind of culminate in a finale that really tests her in that way and tests where her loyalties are going to lie on any given day. And yeah, I think our finale is really beautiful. I'm excited for people to see it.
I do think Alex is definitely a good person, but I also sometimes enjoy when you play people who are not necessarily so well intentioned. I think Good
What do
Girls is
you
a
mean?
well, Fargo also Molly is probably even better than Alex, like in terms of
Molly is the
good.
most altruistic character that I've ever played, for sure.
Then you have like Good Girls, where Mary Pat is definitely not looking out for
Yeah.
anyone but herself. And then Why Women Kill is like the perfect medium, where somebody who like she's trying to do good things, but she's also doing very bad
She's
things.
also literally murdering people. So,
Murder is
but
I feel
they're
like
bad people. So, yeah, I know. Alex is a goody two shoes compared to a lot of the characters that I've gotten to play. Which is, I mean, it's fun. I think that's one of the nice things too about like a television show where you get to spend, 2/3 of your year is that with the other part of your year, maybe you get to go shoot, fire a gun and deal some drugs or do whatever other thing would be fun. I think that's what actors crave is like a little bit of variety.
plans for while you're waiting for season two. What you're working on? Anything?
I'm not working on anything right now. At the, beginning of the year, my team was like, okay, we're gonna find you like a movie to do or something. And I was like, oh, I have to do anything. I'm like happy because again, I've never been in the position where I've been picked up, I know what's coming, and I can kind of float comfortably for a little bit. So yeah, I was like, I'm gonna take a vacation, I'm gonna go on a trip, I'm gonna go. Bob Odenkirk, his Broadway premiere is happening right now, so I'm gonna go see Glengarry Glen Ross. So yeah, I'm just kind of trying to enjoy a little bit of downtime. I really, shooting schedules, less so on this show, I will admit. We do have truly like have sitcom hours where don't have crazy, crazy hours, but you still work long days. You still work, 14-hour days. So I really try to take the time off if I'm not working on my time off, I really try to be as like lazy and indulgent as possible with myself because I just consider it all time borrowed against when I'm shooting and I'm not getting enough sleep all the time. So
Well, in no rush whatsoever, what do you want to try when you do feel like you wanna do something different? What have you not done yet that would be really appealing?
for sure. It's been a long time since I've done a film, and I'd really like to do a movie when I can, when we're on hiatus, hopefully from this show between 2 and 3. I'd like to do a film. It's been a while since I've done a movie, and I'd really like to do a movie that's a smaller movie that I'm like involved with from the beginning, that I'm also producing on. I have a couple things that like I have a writing partner and a producing partner that we're kind of like shopping some stuff around and seeing if we can get a Christmas movie made, and we have a horror movie in the works, and so like small film like that I'm like integral to is something that I'm interested in. And I've also, since I started doing this, I mean, I was much more of a theater girl before I booked Fargo. And so if for 10 years now, I've been saying I want to get back into the theater. And again, like one of the things that you're afforded if you have a show with some longevity and a little bit of stability is the ability to say, got 4 months off, maybe I can go do a play. So um I'd like to do a play. I'd like to make a film. But yeah, I love horror films, so I would love to make another. I would love to. I've done some shorts and I've done, Krampus and things like that. I'd love to lead a horror film. Um, but right now I don't know, I'm so thankful. The part of our job that requires a lot of travel and being away from like home for long periods of time like does not suit me. I actually don't love it, and it takes me quite a bit of like energy and resources to gear up for being away from home for 3 months, 6 months. So I'm just really relishing in the fact that I live in Los Angeles, I shoot in Los Angeles, and I get to be coming home to my own bed after working with people that I love on a show that I'm excited about. I just feel really, really blessed right now.
Really great. Well, since this is awards buzz, I always like to know, what are you watching? Good TV have you seen and are you watching now? Doesn't have to
Well,
be the first so, you know.
but it is. I I just finished the season of Severance along with everybody else. Really loved this season. Loved the season finale. Thought it was awesome. I am watching White Lotus. I just started The Pit, which is like a fun. It's very strange to watch a hospital show, like a drama hospital show. My show. I watch it and I'm like, should we be running around more? Should we have more beeping? Should we have more chaos in our show? And then I'm like, it's just a different show, Allison. It's okay for it to be a different show. But yeah, I'm quite enjoying that. Um, and then, I get into these phases too. Like I have a list of, it's like 50 long of like movies that I've 100% seen before, but then I think of and I'm like, you know what I'd like to watch again? Waiting to Exhale. And I'll just like put it on a list. And then I'm like looking for something to watch. I'm like, oh, let me put on that movie I haven't seen in 20 years. So a lot of old films, not old, but films I've seen before that I haven't seen in a minute that are I'm always kind of like wanting to check into, like comfort food.
Wonderful. Well, I think those are definitely some very popular shows, and I'm glad that St. Denis Medical is doing so well. Wish you some well-deserved rest and then lots of exciting stuff in the future.
Thank you so much, Abe. I appreciate it.